Hello everyone, and welcome back to VOD Review to Challenger. Today we were going to look at a game I played as Ornn versus a Kennen, and we're going to be examining mistakes and kind of things I can be doing better in the Kennen matchup and just overall the range matchup. So generally against Kennen, you're going to want to let him push to you and try not to get poked down as much as possible. So we're gonna hop right into it. Right at timestamp 153. So this is generally where, my focus becomes, I think, a little off when it comes to range matchups. I focus a lot on poking him down rather than farming and thinning the minion wave. Here I took a bunch of damage and I'm a level down, mostly because I don't focus so much on hitting the wave and trying to achieve level 2. If I would have just queued these really low minions and not backed off as much, I think that is really important when you're fighting a range matchup, is to not back down. That generally leads to you having a very bad time in range matchups. You cannot let them be too much of the bully. You got to prioritize keeping levels, especially early, even with them. So you won't let yourself end up in a position like this, because you don't generally want the minion wave to be at your tower. You want it to be like somewhere over here, so they're easy to gank, but it's not hard to farm, or you're losing all your minions under tower. We will hop to kind of my first fuck up of the game, I will say, is around the time 4:30, where Bel'Veth is clearing her Krugs, and I'm pretty low, but I see this as a prime opportunity to gank. This is kind of what you want the lane state to be in versus range matchups most of the time. So this is a prime. She pings on her way. So, prime time. Kennen is a little hard to gank, and that Q is kind of where I mess up. I should kind of wait until she enters the lane more, because now he's just going to E out for free, and I need to focus on holding my abilities more rather than just throwing them out willy-nilly. So now, I get stunned, he E's away, and this gank is completely, forgotten and nothing. It does lead to an opportunity later on, because we do force the gank just a tad bit, but it does end up leading to getting a kill. Because if we fast forward a bit, we get the gank again, but he flashes, which is really important against range matchups. So we can hop a little further ahead, around 6:17. I do hit 6 here, and I know now he has no flash. So I know he's killable. I have Unsealed Spellbook, and in a little bit I'm going to switch it to Ignite. So what I want, now that I've switched it to Ignite, the only thing that can save him is his E. So I do a little bit of a Hail Mary. I will admit, I could say, oh, I use my ult to, you know, bait out his E so I could, you know, flash on him and kill him, which I do in a few seconds. But as Ornn, when I play Ornn, I'm not very good with my ults. I'm a little bit trigger happy, which you will see later in this VOD. So I completely whiff, you know, my skill shots, as you saw earlier with my Qs, aren't completely there yet. But it does allow me to flash on him and kill him, because he did get a little greedy. Maybe he saw my ult and he was like, you know what, there's no way this guy's gonna kill me anyways. So we will jump to a spot where I do a bad ult, and you know, I kind of get a little forceful with the play. So Bel'Veth is fighting Viego. Bel'Veth is considerably higher than Viego. You know, we are considerably outpacing them right now in this game. So I do land my ult here, which the ult wasn't bad per se. It did allow Kai'Sa to get into the fight quicker. But I should have just maybe used the ult to help the Bel'Veth so we could just kill Viego and kind of get out of here. Because what this leads to is a little bit of an overstay by my part and the team's part. So as a tank, you kind of lead the fight. So if you're running in, you know, the team is going to be like, you know what, we can run in. So me running into deep into enemy territory like this is, you know, I'm an enabler. I'm enabling my team to kind of run it down. Kennen flanks and gets the kill on Bel'Veth. You know, gets Pyke pretty low. And, you know, I kind of run it down under the tower. Now, although I get out, you know, we use a considerable amount of summoners. Kai'Sa dies. Pyke dies. And even though it looks like me and Sylas can get out, Sylas ends up dying. So what I did, you know, just walking forward, is I enabled the team to get overconfident, and, you know, we lose. Yeah, we did kill the Varus, but it wasn't worth my flash, pretty much everybody's summoners, and 4 of our lives. So tank players, you know, even though, you know, you run or you want to run in and you want to, you know, tank for the team, don't be enablers. You know, in hindsight, this play is bad, but at the time I'm like, you know what, they're low, I'm big and tanky, we should be able to do it. But you really don't want to enable your team like this. So we will move on from that and jump a little further ahead. To about right here. So, I'll tell you a little bit about my thought process. My thought process during this. So, Otacon is up. We get the pick on Kennen. So we see Viego. So I'm like, okay, Viego's here. If we could just kill him, the Otacon is free. So I ult, but, you know, if I look at my team, you know, even if I hit him with the ult, which I don't, by the way, because I have the aiming capacity of a 3-year-old. Where's that ult? And then I miss my E. Like, what's gonna happen here? My thought process was, if we kill him, Otacon is free. But after looking at this, Kennen is dead. Sylas is top pushing with TP. Otacon is free absolutely anyways. I didn't need to. So the moral there, and what you should, you know, kind of look at, is just the state in general. We have a pick. We have someone pushing on the other side of the map. And not only do we have a pick, we have their engager pick. You know, without Kennen, it's going to be really hard for them to engage on us anyways, especially since we are considerably far ahead. I am very strong. My Balthus is very strong, and generally the team is just very strong. So I should not have been looking here to, you know, overforce and waste resources. I want them, especially as Ornn, you know, to funnel into here to contest Octocon, and then I could engage on them easily. We will jump a little ahead again and look at pretty much the same thing. I'm kind of, you know, a broken clock, but it's very important for me to look at these plays and analyze them so I can stop doing bad ult. Because although, again, this looks like a play, you know, Bel'Veth could help me. I have the Rise. I should generally have looked at my team and, you know, maybe sent the ult down here. But I do engage on the Rise, and Bel'Veth does go help kill off the Varus, which is fine. But, you know, nothing comes of this. You know, I guess it's zoning, it keeps Rise out of play, but, you know, that's just more cope than anything. So yeah. You want to be patient with the ults. You know, I am very impatient, and I am very trigger happy with my ult. As soon as my ult's off cooldown, I want to send that. And, you know, make a big play. But it's okay to play for, you know, small things. Using your ult to pick off 1 or 2 people is way better than, you know, landing the 5-man ult. Because it doesn't happen very often. And, you know, if you get anything out of this video is to just, you know, be patient with your abilities. So this next thing we're gonna look at, honestly, isn't really anything per se. It's just an int. I just want to look through it to just, like, I don't know. There's really no point to make about this. It's just, what am I doing? What do I fly into all 4 of them? That's pretty much all I wanted to say about that. We will go a little further ahead again and kind of judge another team fight and talk about kind of the same things. The same things that happen. So, team fight here, we're fighting for this dragon because we really want this dragon. You know, Chemsoul against their team is a win. So, I kind of walk in and engage, which is fine. We kind of engage a little bit, but, you know, I have so many targets here. And, you know, trying to, I guess, get everyone, I end up getting no one. So I sent it straight through the middle. A gutter ball. Really what I should have done, I sent that ult to help kill Rise. Because Rise is, you know, at this point, he is pretty strong. And he's a considerable damage dealer in this team. But instead I sent it and I hit no one. I don't think that truly had any impact on the team fight. You could argue it maybe did, because Rise anyways got Zilean ulted, but the point to make is just focus on, like, condense your abilities on things that your teammates are already doing. You know, Sylas's engaging on the Rise that I'm ulting. I need to help the Rise with my ult instead of, you know, even if I hit the Varus and the cannon, what does that really do to them? You know, nobody's on them, the pressure isn't on them, and it just generally does nothing. But after this horrendous team fight and, you know, a bunch of mismatch mistakes from my team, and from me here on out, the game is very, very, you know, hard to win. just mistake after mistake. And, you know, their team generally does scale a little bit harder than ours. We end up losing the game. And I don't have any other points to make, but generally, what to take from this video is, you know, just be a little more patient with your stuff. You know, if you don't want to be throwing your abilities out willy-nilly, you want to kind of have a plan for what your abilities are used for. And yeah, that is all I have for this VOD review. I hope everyone has a good rest of their day, and thank you for watching if you made it this far.